Imagine living in a sprawling, tight-knit community, right? 2,500 years ago. Now, someone commits a serious, undeniable offense, something that genuinely threatens the harmony of the whole group. So what do? If you don't have police, if you don't have locked prisons, and you absolutely reject the idea of physical punishment, how do you handle that level of misconduct? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive into an ancient Buddhist text that gives us a breathtakingly sophisticated answer to that exact question.
We are unpacking something called the 10 Recitations Vinaya, specifically Chapter 32. Now, on the surface, yes, this is a dense, highly repetitive, ancient legal manuscript that governed the behavior of Buddhist monks. But when you peel back all that formal language, what reveals itself is a surprisingly modern, deeply empathetic psychological framework for restorative justice. We're talking about a system that isn't about throwing away the key. It's about holding up a mirror to human failings and giving folks a highly structured, community-driven path right back into the fold.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with monastic rules and violations, then move on to confession and the six-night penance. Third, we'll look at the cost of concealment. Fourth, relapse during punishment, and finally, final reinstatement and return.
Section 1. Monastic Rules and Violations. The Crime.
To really grasp the system, we have to understand the stakes, right? Like what kind of rule breaking actually triggers this massive ancient legal apparatus. The text focuses on a category of crime known in Sanskrit as Sanghavashesha, and these are severe. We are not talking about minor infractions here, like sneaking a snack at the wrong time of day. We're talking major moral breaches. The primary example the text keeps coming back to is the intentional emission of semen, which is, of course, a strict violation of the monastic vow of celibacy. But here's the absolute key takeaway. While a Sanghavashesha offense requires the entire monastic community, the Sangha, to intervene, it doesn't mandate permanent expulsion. There is always a bridge back.
Now, to ground all this heavy legal jargon, our source text actually relies on a highly relatable protagonist. Meet Kalodain. He's the monk repeatedly named throughout the entire manuscript. And Kalodain is human. He makes mistakes, he breaks his vows, he confesses, he hides things, and he totally messes up his probation. By focusing on Kalodain, the text magically transforms from this dry list of rules into a deeply human case study of struggle and accountability. Section 2. Confession and six-night penance. The immediate path.
Let's see how this all plays out when Kalodain actually does the right thing. Imagine he commits this severe offense, but immediately realizes he messed up. He doesn't hide it for a single day. He goes straight to his peers and comes clean. What happens? Well, the core concept here is manata. Because he came forward right away, the community grants him a standard six-night penance. You can kind of think of manata as an ancient form of spiritual probation. It's a structured period where the monk acknowledges his wrongdoing and lives under certain restrictions to prove he's committed to reform. It's swift, it's standard, and it's designed to restore purity without dragging the guy through unnecessary public humiliation.
But, and this is crucial, imposing this probation isn't just decided by one authoritarian leader. The text outlines this exhaustive, repetitive chanting process. First, Kalodain literally has to beg the community for this probation 3 times. Then, a designated monk brings a formal motion to the entire assembly. This is followed by 3 distinct, repetitive proclamations asking if everyone agrees to grant the probation. Now, all this incredible red tape, it's actually a profound feature, not a bug. It's an absolute democratic consensus mechanism. Literally no one is punished, and no one is rehabilitated unless the entire community is on board.
And here is exactly how they voted. Let those who consent remain silent, let those who do not, speak. The source text repeats this exact phrase over and over during those 3 proclamations. It so beautifully illustrates that harmony isn't just about punishing the wrongdoer, you know? It's about making sure the community is completely unified in the remedy itself. Silence signifies total harmony. If even one single monk spoke up against the process, the whole community would have to hit pause and address the discord.
Section 3. The Cost of Concealment. Hiding the Truth.
But human nature being what it is, we don't always do the right thing immediately, do we? So, what happens when shame takes over? Let's pivot and look at how the Sangha handles a monk who tries to sweep his crime under the rug. When Kalodain commits an offense and hides it, a totally new legal mechanism kicks in, called parivasa. And this isn't that standard 6-day probation. Parivasa is a highly specialized penalty period that perfectly matches the exact number of days the monk actively concealed the crime.
You hide it for 4 days, you get 4 days of parivasa. You hide it for 2 weeks, 2 weeks of parivasa. It's a brilliantly targeted psychological tool. The community is essentially forcing the offender to sit with the specific literal weight of their deceit.
Just look at the stark contrast here. If you confess immediately, you just serve your 6 nights of monotop, and boom, you're done. But if you conceal it, you are sentenced to parivasa for every single day you hit it, and only after you complete that do you even begin your standard 6-night monotop probation. The system mathematically incentivizes total honesty. It creates a literal, quantifiable cost for every single sunrise you allow a lie to persist in the community.
Section 4. Relapse during punishment. Resetting the clock.
Okay, but rehabilitation is rarely a straight line, right? What happens if our protagonist, Kalodain, is already serving his probation, but then he stumbles again? Amazingly, the text anticipates this exact, frustratingly human scenario. The ancient Sangha created strict but fair boundaries for relapses through a process called Mulaya Patikasana, which translates roughly to sending someone back to the beginning. The text explicitly describes Kalodain committing another offense of the same class while his days of probation are partially passed. The community's response? They don't kick him out, but they do completely reset his clock.
If we follow this timeline, you can really see the mechanism in action. Let's say Kalodain starts his 6-night penance. He makes it to day 4, doing great, but then he relapses. Under this rule, those 3 successful days are totally wiped out. He is sent all the way back to day 1. He has to confess the new offense and then undergo that exact same democratic voting process with the 3 proclamations just to ask the community for permission to start his entire rehabilitative journey over from scratch. It's demanding, it's definitely exhausting, but it ensures that the final result is a monk who has truly maintained consecutive, unbroken discipline.
Section 5. Final reinstatement and return. The escalation.
So just how robust is this system? Let's explore the ultimate test of this framework. Towards the end of chapter 32, the text presents this incredible hypothetical scenario. It describes a monk who doesn't just commit one crime, but stacks up an escalating rap sheet of 13 different severe offenses. He commits an offense, hides it for a day, commits another, hides it for 2 days, all the way up to a 13th offense hidden for 13 days. And the severity is off the charts. These range from touching a woman, to acting as a matchmaker, to slandering peers, to a massive violation, attempting to cause a schism, literally trying to rip the community apart. So, you gotta ask, what is the penalty for this chaotic, destructive spree of 13 hidden severe crimes? Is it permanent exile? No way. It is exactly 13. The Sangha mathematically untangles the whole mess. The maximum days any single offense was concealed in that streak was 13. Therefore, the monk is assigned exactly 13 days of parivasa. And once he completes those 13 days, he moves on to the standard 6 nights of monata. Even for the most extreme, layered, community-threatening behavior, the path to redemption is completely structured, entirely transparent, and undeniably finite.
All of this intricate legal maneuvering leads to a beautiful divine goal known as abana, or formal reinstatement. Once Kalodain successfully finishes his penalty days, he goes before the Sangha one last time. Through the same exhausting process of motions and proclamations, he begs to exit the offense. When the community remains silent in consent, his record is entirely wiped clean. He isn't some second-class monk, he is a fully restored equal member of the community. This entire process proves there is no permanent excommunication for these acts. It relies purely on psychological accountability rather than physical harm, and the community absolutely shoulders the burden of rehabilitation right alongside the offender.
Which brings us to a really powerful realization. 2,500 years ago, this society engineered a justice system that prioritized deep psychological accountability and full societal reintegration over permanent punishment. They fundamentally understood that throwing a human being away didn't actually solve the community's fracture. Only carefully guided rehabilitation could do that. It really makes you wonder, as we look at our modern reliance on punitive, isolating prisons today, have we actually evolved our sense of justice? Or have we just forgotten the profound power of restorative, community-led redemption? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.